Hey everyone, this is Arsenal Fan Circle Thursday night, and we're in the house. I got Stan the man with me. Hi Stan, how have you been?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for inviting me. It's a rainy evening here in Vancouver today.
Yeah, it's been a little bit cooler where I am as well, and I know in Ireland it's been raining a few days as well. I'm hearing back from the homeland, and England, I think it just broke a little bit. The heat wave broke, right, over in England. So
Yeah.
well, let's get into it. A big day today, Stan. The fixtures were released today, and we're going to get started with that. First of all, I want to sort of tell everyone what we're about. This is season 5, and we're going to start things off big here. We're going to try and get 30 likes on this video, on this show. 30 likes, and if we get to 30 before the hour, Stan may actually do a Sir Chips Keswick impersonation, or I may put some glasses on. So you guys in the comments decide what you want to hear. You want to hear Stan doing a Sir Chips Keswick, or you want to see me in a pair of glasses? Because I think Rohan's going to join us as well, and I'll be the odd man out without the pair of glasses. But no, I wanted to tell everyone that's new to this channel, that's joined up. Appreciate everyone who's been with me from the start, and all the new people who are joining. Really amazing. The channel is growing now. We've got some people who are waiting around in the chat room, so I was interacting with you a little bit as well earlier. So that's mad. It's going to be a good thing. And yeah, we got some moderators going as well since last week. Lumberg Camp and Darren, the assembled, and I think a couple of other people in there. So, good stuff. I want to say thanks to the assembled. Thanks to Don't Waste That Tweet, FIFA Boy Darren, James Fernandez, thanks for coming. And Steve Denham, of course, and the Urban Ghost, who says hello, Stan, as well.
Hello,
mate. We go out in the East Coast of America here at 8:30 in the evening, and we do Sunday shows. So this season's going to come on us thick and fast now, Stan.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay? I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know if you've got your volume up too high.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you really well.
Okay, good.
Let me check my volume here. Yeah, everything seems to be good.
Okay.
And a little bit later, we're going to talk about transfers as well. I see Darren is saying he's getting a little bit frustrated with the transfer system. And I'm just saying, hold on a little bit. Try to be calm in these difficult times. And I think Arteta is going to do some good stuff. The club's going to do some stuff in this window for us. What's your feeling briefly, Stan, on the transfers, and hurry up and wait around a little bit?
I'll tell you what it feels like, especially with the Gabriel stories that have been changing almost every 6 hours, it seems.
Yeah.
And then obviously we're getting trolled by our captain. He keeps leaving these cryptic clues. I tell you what it feels like. It's like, you ever been in a situation where it's a Friday, you're at work, and you might get into an argument with someone and it gets a little bit out of hand, and your boss says to you, right, go home. You come back and see me. You'll be back here Monday at 9 o'clock. And you have to go through the whole weekend on tenterhooks, not knowing what's happening on Monday.
Yeah.
Whether you're walking in to get canned or just to slap on the wrist. Well, this feels like one of those weekends, but it's never ending. It's never getting to Monday. It's like you're just waiting to get into that meeting, and it's just dragging on and on and on. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I think we've all been in that situation, Stan, where our boss says, hey, I want to see you, and he's got other things to do. So he waits hours and hours until you actually have to see him, or the next day, like you said. And, in the end, it's pretty much, he just wanted to see me about this and that, and it wasn't too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, Urban Ghost, thanks for joining us. Darren as well. Who else is in here? The Mr. Bungle's here, and the assembled. But James is here as well. Hey, guys, it's 1:30 in England, and, big up to everybody. A lot of people it's 1:30 in England now, so I feel like I have to speak a little bit faster to get through the podcast so that you can get to bed a little bit earlier. We'll try to go about 90 minutes here.
If you're feeling tired, then just stand up and listen so you don't fall asleep. That's what my nan used to do. She used to let me. When she used to look after me as a little kid. We used to stay up to watch like the horror films. But if I started to fall asleep, my choices were I could either go to bed or I could stand up to wake up a little bit longer. So I always stood up for a bit.
Well, James, I appreciate you saying hello to rival Arsenal fans who we have a lot of respect for. And, that's what it is. What we're trying to build here is a respectful community, somewhere where Arsenal fans can come and take a little bit of respite from the transfer dealings, the rigmarole. Hope everyone's families and yourselves are safe and well. So thanks, James. A great comment there. So we're going to get into the fixture list, and what struck me as well as I get through some comments here, Stan, and you don't know what the fixtures are yet, Stan, so this is a treat for you.
Yeah, I've not had an opportunity to have a look at that yet. I don't know who our first game is. Is there anything? So this would be quite a surprise for me.
It will be a nice treat, but tell me if you have the same feeling as we go through it, Stan, that a lot of it seems like we're playing a lot of the same teams around the same time of year, so it will look familiar to you. Istanbul, why isn't Steve Denham a mod? He's been here as long as me. Steve, if you want to be a moderator, you definitely can. I will make that happen. So let me know. I just had a roll call last week for whoever wanted to do it. FIFA, Darren, you just want to see Aubameyang sign and get him on my away shirt. Stan, I saw your tweet earlier. You're not loving this shirt, right?
It kind of reminds me of the Raspberry Ripple.
Raspberry Ripple, it reminds me of that ice cream as well. Yeah.
Or somebody might be, or you've been attacked by like a pack of wolves. I just don't like a white kit for me for Arsenal. I always like our second kit to be yellow or yellow with some blue trim. That's just my own personal preference. So I don't think that I'll be getting the white one. Not only that, I'll probably get it filthy within a day.
Yeah. You see when you wear white, you never wanted to wear white. Well, listen, guys, James says he's just too tired. James, if you wouldn't mind, slap a like on this. Everyone who's watching right now, slap a like on the video. And, we'll get into it right here. We want to hit 30 likes. Let me know if you want to hear Sir Chips Keswick or you want to see me in some spectacles. And Stan's probably hoping they're going to pick on me and get some spectacles on. All right, go with the spectacles, right? So I want to throw this thing up here first. There we go. We'll show this one there. Just a little message from me to you. You're all a great group, and I wanted to thank everyone for their support and panel members who take the time, like yourself, Stan, to come on and go through a show with me as well. So I really appreciate that. Let's get into it. You're dying to see the fixtures now, right?
I am. I've always thought that you always get an idea of where, like the Premier League, where they kind of rank you, where they rate you as a big draw or not, depending on those first fixtures. For an example, I'll give you an example. If the first game of the season is and we've got Manchester City, I can guarantee it's because the league isn't looking at us as a threat to Man City, if you know what I mean. So they ease Man City in the first game. Do you see where I'm coming from? If we're matched up with a big team at the first game, it's because they look at us as the underdog.
So you don't think it's random? It's like
no, not at all.
Okay, you think
our first game is away at Fulham.
Yes. So we go away to Fulham and we play West Ham at home. It's similar for me, Stan, in that it's 2 winnable games. We could actually be on 6 points after 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, I've not watched Fulham in ages, right? I've not been watching them play in the Championship, but you've got to say that on paper, if you're just looking at it on paper, and even if you're looking at it without any new signings coming in and you're looking at it with our current squad, you'd like to think that we should be able to get something against those first 2 games to ease into the Liverpool game. But the problem that we've seen is that with our current squad, a lot of those squad members, for whatever reason, they can't seem to get themselves up for the smaller games, what is considered the smaller games. Do you know what I mean? So, if we stayed with the current squad, you could maybe look at a loss and a draw in the first 2 games, and then we could probably even turn it around and get a win at Liverpool. If you just go by some of our performances last season.
And the thing is, Dan, I didn't know whether to go into talking about our transfer targets because a lot will change depending on who we're going to get in this window, or if we're going to go through the fixture list. And I felt it would be better to just go through the fixture list here. So there's the first 10 games, Dan, and I chose the first 10 games to go through them because our restart was 10 games, and we got 16 points from those 10 games. Now, I'd be kind of happy if you look at those fixtures. I'd be kind of happy if we get around about 16, 18 points from our first 10 games because we go away to Liverpool. Look at those away games: away to Liverpool, away to City, away to Man United, and then away to Leeds. Very, very punishing away games apart from the start against Fulham.
Yeah, but again, with a team like Leeds, it's a bit of an unknown quantity, and hopefully we're gonna strengthen our squad in this window. But then you look at a team like Sheffield United, who had a good run last season. How are they going to be able to strengthen? Are they going to be able to get in enough to keep momentum, or are they going to maybe find that they're going to lose a couple of their key players that other teams might have an eye on, maybe an Everton or a team like that, maybe looking at players there? And you could also say the same about Wolves, because I've been hearing that there's Jimenez, their striker, he's getting his name linked to other teams. So teams like that, it's how if they lose players, how they go about replacing them to keep momentum to what they were doing last season.
Yeah. December said a good start would be 7 points out of our first 3 games. The problem is Arsenal will have rested less than most teams. It's probably true as well. But what I like about this, Dan, is, and we're going to see later as we go through the program here, difficult first 10 games. But you know what that means on the back end? We've gotten Liverpool out of the way. We've gotten City out of the way. We've gotten Man United, all those away games out of the way. So we're going to be playing them at home on the back end of the fixture list.
And I think the team is playing in a much better way because they've had games under their belt and they understand the system that Mikel Arteta is teaching them. So better performances, hopefully.
Also, if we've got new players and they're trying to bet in, it's going to be difficult games. Who says we're going to beat Liverpool, City, and United all away from home? We're going to drop some points, surely. And if a new player like a Partey or a Gabriel, dare I say it, comes in, they're able to bet in a little bit during these games.
Yeah, it's those games. The teams there like Fulham, West Ham, Sheffield United, Aston Villa, Leeds, Wolves. They're the ones where we've got to sort of like take care of our business.
Gunnar Glenn, Sheffield have lost Dean Henderson already. Did he go back to United? I'll check up on that. Leeds are going to have a bit of a shock being in the Premier League, especially with Liverpool and Arsenal. Yeah, Leeds opening day, they play Liverpool, Stan.
Okay.
So that's, I think Leeds are a perfect team that could, a team that comes up, Stan, they always have a really, really good start to the campaign. I think last season, God, it went on forever, but it was Norwich who had a good start with Pukki, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see some of these teams that come up. I mean, Leeds is a massive team. When I was a nipper, they were huge. They were one of the massive teams up there. And I always remember that time when David O'Leary was managing them, and they sort of went for that splurge and spent all that money. Do you remember? They spent
they mortgaged everything.
Ferdinand.
They got to the semi-final of the Champions League, and then they sort of dropped out of the sky then from there on out.
Yeah, they really went for it. They spent about £75 million on Rio Ferdinand, which wasn't it about? Remember, it was like 75 million pounds. It was a lot of money for back then as well.
Yeah, a lot. Mr. Bungle says it's Stan the man.
Hello, Mr. Bungle.
The brand is here. Willian, we got 2. We got Willian too. Yeah, I'm not overlooking Willian, of course. Gunnar Glenn, thanks for joining us. The assembled. I'd always look at our final 10 games. That's when everything is won and lost, and we're going to get into that real quick here. Sheffield have signed the Bournemouth keeper. Okay. I would have thought Dean Henderson was better than the Bournemouth keeper. Leeds were popular big time in the 90s, and I actually was at the Ellen Road game when Perez scored that equalizer. I think it was Robbie Fowler scored the first goal. It was a 1-1 draw. All right, so We go home to Sheffield United, go away to City, home to Leicester, away to United, and then we gotta get some revenge against Villa and Leeds and Wolves. So those will be vital games. Those last three in the first 10 games. Now that's going to take us up till the end of November. Believe it or not, we'll be into December after 10 games.
Can you remind me our first game? So a week on Saturday is the Charity Shield game, right?
Yes. Probably 10 days from now is the Charity Shield game. Yes.
And then is it a week and then the season starts, or is it starting directly?
2 weeks then.
There'll be a 2-week gap after the.
Yes, so we're probably like 3 weeks and 2 days away from the season starting. 23 days. You know.
I wonder how many sort of pre-season games we've got planned.
I don't think there'll be very many pre-season games at all. So we did the first 10 games. Now we're going to go through the next 9, and this will take us up halfway through the program. And halfway through the program will be into January, middle of January. So Spurs, you can see here our program gets a little bit lighter because through September, October, and November we've had those 10 games that were difficult with all of those away games. If we get through those games, stand with about 16, 17 points, I'm pretty happy. The top teams will be on 27, 28 points. We'll be about 10 points off of first place. We have to be realistic as well, right? We're not gonna be winning the league next season. Our target really is to get into the top 4.
No, but I mean, if you think of some of the games that we should have done better in, sometimes, and a lot of the time, it's been down to an individual error that may have cost us a point. You know, where we should have had 3 points, we've now just got a draw. And, you know, where we may have nicked a draw, we've lost all the points. So if we can iron out those dents, we should be a lot better. Because, you know, it's not like we've lost games and we've just been like totally overrun. You know, we've kind of like sometimes helped our opposition. And I just think back to the last North London derby, you know, as an example, you know, gifting goals to the opposition. If we can get rid of that, you know, those extra points that we've dropped will be so vital to us. And you'll see, you know, if we get the right personnel in that have their mind switched on for all of the games, they're up for the games at Burnley and at Brighton, you know, they're up for games at West Brom and not just sort of like looking at the calendar for the big ones, then we'll give a better account of ourselves for sure.
We'll also go into this campaign with the momentum of winning the FA Cup. And, you know, we're going to talk about maybe the possible signings we're going to get into with Gabriel. Aouar, maybe a bit of a stretch for me, but definitely Partey. I think we've been saving up some money behind the cushions of the couch here. We've got that money ready to go and get Partey when the time's right. Stefan says Arsenal's new second kid looks like Spurs shirt. Thoughts, Stan? Is it growing on you now? You're not really a fan of this shirt, right?
Was it the white one?
Yeah, the white one with the ripple. We were just talking. It looks like raspberry ripple ice cream.
I'm not a fan of it at all. I'm not going to be buying that shirt personally.
Darren says we had a rocky start in the season just gone, but we climbed through. So if we have a great start and finish great, I'm a happy boy. Yeah, and the other thing as well is if you're watching this on playback, just stop, pause it, and hit that like button. It's really going to help the channel. I know we keep going on about it now, but you wouldn't believe the analytics will really, really help to bring more people into this. And that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to bring more people into the chats. Here we are.
Don't be afraid of that. Hit the like button. Simple.
Yep. Yeah. And if we get 30 likes here within the hour, you have to let us know if you want to do a Sir Chips Keswick or for me to wear some glasses and pick Stan for Sir Chips Keswick. It's amazing.
No. Pick the glasses.
Don't waste that tweet. Says 21 points lost in the past season. Arteta should be able to fix that problem. Yeah, especially if we get that defender in the door. Arsenal shirts should never be white.
Agreed.
I agree with that. Okay, so as I think Gunnar Glenn said, December 5th will be the first North London derby. We go to the toilet bowl, and I saw somewhere, Stan, that limited capacity, limited seating, limited attendance will be allowed now. So they're talking about
How do you monitor that? You know, you got a 60,000 seater stadium, and I don't know I don't know what the percentage of a stadium is of season ticket holders. But then if you say, okay, we're only going to let in 15,000, how do you choose those 15,000? How do you select them? What you put everybody's season ticket stub into a bowler hat, and you just dip your hand in and pick out 15,000. I mean, I don't know it's easy. It's an easier thing to say. We're going to do this. We're only going to let in X amount, but how do you actually roll that out fairly?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's probably has to be
in Canada, right? Season tickets ain't really my business, but I mean, have clubs said anything about what's expected for a season ticket renewals next season? How's that working? I mean, do you know what I'm getting at? What's it usually? You know, with Arsenal, you start hearing about stuff starts happening, and it's to encourage season tickets. But what's going to happen there then?
Isn't there such a thing as platinum members and gold members and all that stuff, Stan?
Yeah, they do have all of that. But I mean, again, though, how? I mean, you can't go. I mean, you can't go about selling season tickets, can you? If you don't even know if people are going to be allowed in, or maybe I think back to the old days where it's like you just queue up and it's like the first in on the turnstiles.
Hopefully they're going to figure out a plan and we're going to hear about it. Spurs away from home, then we go to Burnley at home, Southampton at home, and here's where we're into December now. This gets familiar. We seem to play Everton, Chelsea, and Brighton, always at the same time of the year. Brighton, I think, is the 28th of December, and Chelsea's on Boxing Day.
Well, we need to put that right, you know.
Yeah, we've been terrible against Brighton.
Like that should be 3 points in the bag.
Yeah, especially it looks like Chelsea may buy Lewis Dunk, which I think is a canny addition for them as well.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of our fans sort of really wanted Lewis Dunk over at ours. All right, Rohan, how are you?
Hi, Rohan.
What are you guys doing?
You are on the West Coast.
Yes, I am. Yeah,
nice and bright there.
Outside. And I completely got it confused because I still thought that it was at 8:30, and I just happened to check Twitter, and yeah.
So where are you, Rohan?
Seattle.
Oh, nice. Okay, you're not too far away then, really. Only a couple of hours away from me.
If it wasn't for the self-quarantine, you could have been over.
We could have met halfway, an hour each.
Exactly. Right at the border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking about halfway, Rohan, we went through the fixture list. I think you may have seen the fixtures earlier on Twitter today, punishing starting schedule. But here we are in the middle. We're up to 50% here with Newcastle at home in the middle of January. A less punishing schedule here through November and December. Chelsea at home being possible and Everton away being possibly the most difficult in that group there.
Yeah, exactly. My opinion was that there are patches in which we have difficult runs, and then there are long periods where we have, comparatively easier fixtures. I mean, but we've seen that there are no easy fixtures, right? You pick up points against, City and Liverpool, and then you drop points against Brighton and, the Villa. So that's how we are, and hopefully next season we're not like that, and we're able to capitalize on having a good run. And especially what has excited me, I'm sure that we'll get there, is the run in to the season, which seems promising, and if we can set ourselves up, then
if we can set ourselves up, we are in position, because as I was explained, Stan hadn't seen the fixtures. Explaining to him all of the away games against Liverpool, United, and City in the first 10 games. I have another item of business for you, Rohan. You got to weigh in on whether, if we get 30 likes in the hour, will it be a Sir Chips Keswick impersonation from Stanley, or a pair of glasses from me?
It has to be such, hasn't it? It has to be. Come on.
Well, I think the people in the chats will have the final say as well. You get one vote, of course, Rohan, and I get one vote as well. So it's 2-1 right now on the panel stand. So we'll see what happens, Stephen,
That has nothing to do with anything, It's just that I'm a big fan of your impersonations, man. It's just
your impersonations are more impressive than me wearing a pair of glasses. Okay. Stephen said the highest bidder gets to go to the game stand.
Yeah.
Rohan, do you have any information?
It's all about the dough.
So it's going to be limited capacity for the Emirates. I think 16,000. How will they determine who's going to get in there, Rohan?
No, I have no idea. Have they announced that? Have they said that? Have they set a date? Because I didn't know. I thought that we were going to be.
Yeah, I think it's some kind of a plan I saw. Now I can't say that I went into too much detail on it, but I did see it there.
I'm sure it has to be random. Otherwise, people are just going to lose it, right? Like, it has to be random because anyways, people are so. As much as the FA and the Premier League will want to give it to the highest bidder, we know what they're really after, don't we? But the people are really going to lose it because it's just going to be the corporate boxes and like the folks who sit in the corporate boxes who are going to be able to go to the game, and that's just not going to be acceptable.
Tony is white in. The third kit is dark blue with peach lettering and stripes, and I think that's the traditional color that we should go for. To me, it's play for the name on your chest. Yeah, that's what he said. Rohan is going to bribe the Emirates staff with his lawyer bucks. Okay, let's get. So Rohan, let's get your take on this next block of very familiar fixtures through December. We've had Everton before, we've had Chelsea, we've had Brighton. So this is a part of the season where hopefully we're surging, we're picking up a number of points here.
Yeah, we got a couple of blocks in between, but other than that, we did well against Burnley at home. Spurs, we've got to get points. We played well in the two games that we played, and we just picked up 1 point. That just wasn't good enough. So, that was the first picture that I saw, and home and away, we've got to pick up points here. Going away there. It's not going to be an easy game, but again, this time we dominated the game and we could have won it. It was just ourselves who to blame, right? But then just looking at the other games, Burnley, we've traditionally done well against Burnley, although the matches have been close. Like they've always kind of remember a few games in which we've had to win in extra time where Sanchez had to score a penalty and stuff like that, So let's try to. But the last one that we played was the Danny Ceballos show, right? So let's hope that that's what goes on there. Southampton is a tricky fixture. I picked them to do well next season. They've been on the up under Hassan Hotel. So that should be a difficult game. Everton, you just don't know what sort of Everton turns up into the season, right? They do a lot of business, but I think they just do too much business from my perspective. They just end up doing so much.
They maybe signed the wrong players, Rohan.
There's no coercion in the team. That's what I feel, And, talking about Everton and Everton reject Ronald Koeman is now sitting at the helm of Barcelona. So that's.
I heard a strange
thing to say about Everton, or is it something to say about Barcelona? I don't know.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard that Ronald Koeman has submitted a list of players, and one of them is Michael Keane for Barcelona to go and get. Can you believe that? Michael Keane from Everton is going to be at Barcelona if Koeman has something to say about it.
Yeah,
crazy.
Let's wait and watch. I mean, we haven't had the podcast since last week, and to me, it really feels like the demise of an era. Barcelona, in my time of watching football in the last 18, 19 years, Barcelona was the dynasty. You guys talk about the Liverpool teams, and you guys talk about these other teams, the United teams, of course. Like United has dominated here, but Barcelona, the way they were generational talents, and they were a team to remember, right? And this 8-2 just marked the end for me of that generation, and that Barcelona isn't the top dog anymore. And that's what I feel about their signing as well of Ronald Koeman. Maybe I'm not giving him as much credit, but just seems a little underwhelming.
And then we go away to West Brom. Serge Gnabry used to play there. He's gone on to bigger and better things, right?
Yeah, West Brom's a difficult fixture. I think the last time that that they were in the Premier League, we in fact played them. We were gonna win, and then we gave away. Our Xhaka gave away a penalty, if you remember that one. So that was during Christmas as well, actually. So yeah, West Brom's going to be difficult. We know they're a physical team. I mean, I don't know if they still play like that. I haven't watched them enough, but traditionally it's a difficult game to go there and try to get points. They sort of try to ruffle us, but this is the new Arsenal. We don't get ruffled up, right?
Is Kieran Gibbs still at West Brom?
Is he?
Interesting. If anyone in the comments knows that, if Kieran Gibbs is still there, it's been a number of years. I would imagine he's probably moved on.
Right.
What age would he even be now, Stan? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some comment about the kits. Steven's not happy about Adidas. They give us the iconic kits, and then next season go a million miles away from it. It's all about generating revenue, I think.
We had that horrible sort of mint green kit that we had a few seasons ago. That was horrible. It just looked like the flu in kit form. It's like the flu in kit form. Horrible.
Yeah, and I swore we wouldn't get hung up on talking about the kits today, so we got much more business to get through. 10 likes right now. We're closer to a Sir Chips Keswick impersonation.
Get your glass back.
Totally, Steve. Is there any tradition in football anymore? No. They were off-white. Gibbs is more than likely injured. Nice one, Assemble.
That's peaky, that is true.
That was the worst kid we've had. Okay, so up to Newcastle, it takes us into mid-January. And next set of fixtures, we'll start with Southampton away from home. And here they are. Southampton away from home, and then we get to return to the return trip with Man United. God knows where they are, what they're doing at this point in the season. I imagine, Rohan, like I said to Stan, with the first 10 games, we'd be around 16, 17 points. The best teams would be 27, 28 points. We'd be about 10 points off, and off of first place, that is. I think well in position for top four. Even at halfway stage. And then we come into this Southampton, Man United, Wolves, Aston Villa. A couple of tricky away games there, Wolves and Aston Villa. And then we get Leeds United and City. So the tough games that we have in September are coming back to us in February.
Yeah, and traditionally February is the time when we sort of have our perennial troubles, right? Like that's where we sort of go on the downward spiral, as they say. So these are difficult fixtures. Even Manchester United at home, we've done well in the last couple of seasons, but don't write them off. Who knows how many penalties they would have got by that time in the season. So we just have to stay away.
I saw a tweet where even in off season they're going to get a penalty or something like that.
Exactly. You have to keep Mustafi away from them and on his feet. If he's still around, that is.
Tony wants to see the Arsenal luchador, but that's going to be a 4-0 victory.
Hopefully I think he's coming back next season, and I think he's going to. If Arsenal score 4 or more, then you may see the Arsenal luchador. But
how many times we did that once last season? So hopefully we can do it again. And it would have to be a few more likes than 30. So all good. Stan's reaction to, I think, Sir Chips Keswick is priceless.
Peach.
How many of players reporting in tomorrow will have COVID-19? Tony, you're always the optimistic one here. How about how many won't have it? Stan is probably out shooting for animals. What a man. That's silent
We're talking
Stan.
about the owner, by the way, not me.
The owner, yeah, not
Yeah,
you.
no, I love animals.
You're not Silent Stan. We could never call you Silent Stan, right? Tony Turner, Premier League or England? Okay. That's a problem for all teams, but Arsenal could deal with some luck, so don't have to deal too much with COVID. Okay. Premier League. Urban Ghost, shout out to you. You're playing FIFA, but he's listening along to us.
Urban Ghost, what setting are you playing on? Let me know. I'm interested.
What setting are you playing on, Urban Ghost? Let us know. Let us know. Okay, that's up till mid. And then we
We've
get
got
into running.
both consoles being represented here. Stan is the Xbox guy, and I'm the PlayStation guy.
Tony would love it to be like a cross, so both platforms.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't, right? Exactly. Now the final set of games. We've got Liverpool coming back to us in the 10th last game, let's say. And we got Sheffield United away, Fulham, Everton, Newcastle, West Brom. The only difficult one is Stamford Bridge, Rohan.
No, I think no. You got it completely wrong. The difficult one is the last game of the fixture, isn't it?
Brighton at home.
last fixture of the game. Yeah, Brighton. Brighton is the most difficult game that we're gonna face. They did the double on us.
I would really hope by that time we've exercised our demons at that point, you know.
Oh man, seriously. I mean, in all honesty, that's a good run in. You couldn't ask for a better run in than that. You know, you've got a couple of difficult games.
That was a Manchester. That's a Manchester United level run in that they had this season. You know, 5 out of 10. I think Tony's saying 5 out of 10 points for the first 10 games. Okay, so that is the Premier League fixtures. Exciting stuff, I think. Rohan, difficult start to the season, but it gets easier as it goes on for us.
It's okay. I mean, everybody is going to be finding their form at that point, right? Like, we'd rather play them there. The only issue that I have right now is that we haven't made too much movement in the transfer market. We are linked with players, but they need to gel as well. You know, the only thing that I want to say is that this year again shouldn't be a write-off. So we have to go in, strongly. We have to start strongly. The start of the season reminds me of last season where we played Burnley in the third, where we played Liverpool in the third game of the season.
Again, yeah.
Just take it as it comes, but give it some seriousness.
Exactly. Stan, how are you feeling? I know we went pretty quickly through them, but generally speaking, we've got very, very tough away games. Two games at the beginning where we could possibly be again on 6 points. The whole fan base will be gassed that we're going to do big things. And we lose to Liverpool, and the whole fan base is going to go downstairs.
Yeah. If we get our pants in those first 2 games, then guaranteed trending is going to be Arteta out, isn't it? Trending, but in those first 2 games, it's either going to be bloody hell, William Saliba is like the second coming, or bloody hell, this kid's rubbish. A decision will be made that quickly, guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's prudent. I don't need to say it, but in my opinion, see, the judgment now lies on Arteta and his selection, etc. We know that there are young kids coming in. Saliba is just coming in. He's going to make a few mistakes. They're saying that Gabriel is going to come in. If he comes in, he's probably going to make a few mistakes. But what we really need to see is how we respond to it. We shouldn't get tactically outplayed. What really stood out in that third game of the last season was not the fact that we lost to Liverpool. I mean, we lost 3-1, right? Like, I mean, that's an okay loss to Liverpool, where they are and where we were. But the manner in which we played, and we just allowed them to have the ball out wide, where they've got these players who are just going to whip balls in, and we were just continuously under pressure. So you don't want to see that.
No. Anything else, Stan? How do you think out of the promoted teams, who will finish above? Who will finish the highest in the table out of the promoted teams?
So it's
Fulham, West Brom, and Leeds.
Who was the other one? West Brom, Leeds, and
Fulham.
Fulham.
So I would say probably Fulham would be the last of those three.
They're a proper yo-yo team now, aren't they? They're up and down, Fulham, aren't they? You know what I mean? Yeah. They're like that. So it's going to be, and obviously West Brom have had recent experience sat at the big table, but it's going to be interesting for Leeds, I think. I would imagine that there's a high expectation that once they come up now, that they need to stay up and build on that. But they've got a really good manager.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a really good manager in there, and the players seem to respond. He has the whole team galvanized. So I'm going to be interested. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing a little bit more of Leeds, because I've heard so much about them, but I've never really watched them play. And it was interesting that Eddie was on loan there, but that didn't really kind of like go too well. So I'm interested to see what Leeds have to offer out of all of the ones that have come up.
All right, so yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I think Leeds will probably be the forefront of those three teams. Rohan, for you, how many points will be satisfactory? Tony's looking to get us on record here. I'm going to go for high 60s, 66, 68, something like that would be satisfactory.
I mean, the larger question then is, do points matter, or does the position matter, really, isn't it? Because we finished on 75 points and finished fifth. And last season we could have finished on 66 points and finished fourth. So, there's no telling which was the better season, right? Like, I'd like to see as many points as possible. But if the objective has to be to get into the top four, and if that means that I could get there with less points, then I'm gonna have that.
Yeah.
But compared to what we had this season, we made 56 points, I think, and I would think that we just had so many draws. We could have converted at least 5 of them into wins. That would be 10 more, and then we could have had at least 2 or 3 more wins.
Yeah. Stan, what points are you looking at? And Rohan's exactly right in saying position is most important, but what kind of position or points are you looking to?
Well, Rohan makes a good point. Sometimes I think that the points can be a little bit deceiving. It might not give a whole reflection on what actually happened in the season.
Yeah.
But, I'd always like to see us get at least around 75 points, at least around, that kind of a mark should get you somewhere quite respectable, I think.
Yeah, probably 75 would get you third place, probably, and that's a hell of a season.
Yeah, but that's always a number that I always think that we should be aiming for as a number.
So Steve Denham's going for 70. Don't waste that tweet, 65. So we're going to be thereabouts. I think we are going to surprise a lot of teams this season. I've been looking at some other rival fans channels, and they don't give Arsenal a lot of love out there. You know what I mean? And I think we are going to surprise some teams.
I don't want that. That's what makes us. Do you know what I mean? I like that. It's the old nobody likes us, we don't care. I don't want the other teams' love.
Yeah, exactly. Rohan, do you think in the top half of the table we'll have the most surprise factor? We will gain the most amount of points in that grouping.
Well, we could, because Arteta has shown that he can outclass other managers. It depends on the recruitment that we do. It depends on the day that the game happens. Where we are at. How we're playing, etc. But again, we don't have the pressure of playing in the Champions League. That is pressure. That tests your squad depth. Just imagine if they have game week 6, Chelsea has a game week 6 or something, or United has a game week 6 in the Champions League where they have to play, and then they have to play us, or something like that. That's going to give us an instant advantage because we're playing in the Europa. We should be getting through, right? So it depends on that. And this season wasn't a surprise; it was a shock. Last season, I should say now, right? So the only way is up for me, and we could just be doing better. The issue is that a lot of times our players, for some reason, they think that winning against the big teams will give them 4 points, and winning against the so-called lesser teams will just give them 2 points or 1 point. But it doesn't work that way, right? You get 3 points for winning against Norwich, and you get 3 points for winning against Spurs.
Yep.
So you have to keep that in mind. Be professional.
Yeah. Question for Stan and Rohan. Do you think Aubameyang has already signed the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think he's already put pen to paper?
There's no doubt that he has signed it, or he has agreed to everything. It's not just up in the air where there are negotiations going on. Otherwise, he wouldn't, like, every other day he's on Troops' Instagram. Come on, like, you can't be doing that if you're gonna leave, right? And he's shown no intention of that. He's
gassing us as well, Stan.
You see, this is first of all, I was like, well, there's no way that they would have him showing off the new kit in promotional videos and pictures if he was going out of the door. But then on the other side of the coin, you see Mesut Ozil featuring quite a lot.
Yeah, he is contracted. He is an employee of Arsenal Football Club still, so those are requirements that he has to do. Right?
I wouldn't use that logic for Arsenal. They're going to try till the last day to scoop the last penny out of the fans. If that Aubameyang can get them 50 extra quid, they're going to do that and not care about whether he's signing or not.
I was listening to, I can't remember what podcast it was, but they knew someone that worked, I think it's the Armory, where they sell all the replica shirts. And usually, sometimes they get told that they have to hold back on orders of shirts, sometimes specifically a player, if they may not sign. And they said that they've had no messages from above to hold any kind, have to hold anything back. The deliveries are coming in as normal, which I think is a good sign. And I mean, if he's not signed, right, then Aubameyang has to get the award for the biggest troll of the year. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I
mean? He's doing it big time to us out there. Lacazette, do you think, Rohan, the Lacazette could be leaving? It's up in the air. For me, it's up in the air. It's possible that he could. It is possible he could, right?
It's a possibility that he could leave, but I don't think he's leaving. Especially like if you saw, I mean, if that's what we are going by, whether they did the kit launch or not. I mean, he was there, and in fact, in the video today that's launched on the new third kit, the away kit rather. It's if you saw, there's this whole Game of Thrones scene that is going on, right? And then they've got two chess pieces, and on one side I was surprised to see it was Lacazette and Madime, like our women's player there, and then on the other side it was Aubameyang and Little. So I mean, they're just gassing this up so much. If they're gonna sell him, then they shouldn't have put him there. But maybe they don't want to add that speculation of, oh, he's not there, means he's leaving, that sort of a thing. But who knows? But Aubameyang is definitely more sure than Lacazette. Lacazette, I think, is up in the air in the sense that if we get a really good deal out of him, which otherwise we wouldn't get, then I think Arteta would sacrifice him. But otherwise, I think Arteta likes him and he wants to keep him.
I really, Rohan, I really love Norma's post here. 101 points. That's what we're expecting from Arsenal. And
that's last season and this season combined.
I hope not, because that puts us this season around 40-something points. But I love the optimism and.
Can I just say on that Lacazette thing? I hope we do sell him, not in a nasty way. I quite like the guy, but just as for progression, I hope that we do sell Lacazette. And I think that if we do sell Lacazette in this window, and I know that we have, there's other things in the teams that we need to do, but if we sell Lacazette specifically, then I think that we do need to reinvest in bringing another forward. because Martinelli's not going to be back till 2021, right? Let's say after we're a month into the season, a month and a half into the season, Aubameyang gets a broken leg. Are we saying then that we've got to put everything on Eddie? He's got to play every single game in the league and in the cup competitions, the ones that we still may be in. So if we do sell Lacazette, that money has to go into another forward. You can't bung that into another fund for another position, because I just think it would leave us short in that role.
Yeah.
And I know what I would do with the money. I'd drive up to Scotland and I would go straight to Celtic, and I would just give him the cash for Oderson Edouard and drive back with him.
Yeah, our proven goal scorer in the Scottish League, and someone that could do quite well. Listen, if you're watching, we're up to 12 likes. If we get to 30, Stan will do the Sir Chips Keswick impersonation. Even if he doesn't do it today, if we get to 30, watching on playback, he will do it at a later date, or I will wear glasses.
I don't even know that impression was that good. It's just what he sounds like in my head. I've never actually heard him speak, right? Just what he sounds like in my head.
Yeah, like the team, Stan, you have to believe that you can perform. And when you believe in yourself, you can do it.
This sounds like a non-negotiable to me.
Yeah. So if you're watching this on playback and you've gotten to the 50th minute, slap a like on the video. It helps the community. It helps bring people, be more awareness about the channel, and bring people into great content here that Rohan and Stan is providing. And like I said on Sunday, I'm just the guy who pulls it all together. You know what I mean? Ultimately, the squad needs to play better. Team could improve their team play, but others around us could improve too. Thus, movement up the table could still be difficult. Yeah, true. Other teams are going to suit up against us. And Ryan, we come into the second half here. We're going to talk about Gabriel and Aouar and Partey and our confidence levels in all three of those. So start out with Gabriel for us, Ryan.
I mean, it seems like it's quite likely, right? I mean, that's what I read. That's what I read on Twitter. I have no internal sources. Nobody's told me, but from what I read somewhere that he's done his medical today, and that the announcement is imminent. So we'll just have to wait and see. But it seems like I've seen his statistics for Lille, where he's first on all defensive categories, but I don't know what to make of it, because that's for his own team. I don't know how well he's played for in the whole league, in the sense that what's his standing in the French league as a whole, or where has he played, how has he played. I don't know too much about him. I'm happy to see that it's somebody young. I'm happy to see that there's going to be some person who could be coached, and I believe in Arteta more than that he can coach a young talent, and he's a young talent.
He's going to join Saliba, who is hopefully join Saliba, who is a young player himself. Would know each other in the French league. And before I get further into Gabriel, Tony has rightly pointed out happy birthday to Joe Willock, and also I want to say congratulations to Socrates, who has had a baby girl as well. So congratulations to him. I believe it may well be. Papa may well be a Napoli player right now. Is he? Is that going to go through soon?
We can hope.
I thought I saw something for about 5 million. And I want to say something about Socrates as well. He came in 2018. It was a short-term fix for us. I think he did a decent job, if not a spectacular job, and he actually scored 3 goals for us, and 2 of them under Arteta in the last 7 months. People forget that first goal against Manchester United before Pepe sort of took over, and then he scored a goal a lot like Ronaldo in the FA Cup at Portsmouth. I'll remember that one for a while. It was a crisp finish. But that was Socrates, wonderful servant, if just to help us get through 2 years in the project, He
was all right. He wasn't spectacular. He was okay. The reason I don't have anything against him. He's done all right, but technically he just isn't a guy to take us forward. It's not like Arteta could coach him to become a better defender. He's just what he is, and that's it. So it's okay.
The Assemble is not sure Aubameyang has signed. Barca and Real want the European Cup. They are looking to spend until he officially signs. Don't hold your breath. I think he's 99.9%. I can't really see him getting his head turned now. I think there's some good interaction in the chats as well, so that's good stuff. So Stan, things that might make you worry about the Gabriel acquisition is PSG and Manchester United have maybe rumors have they stepped in to challenge Arsenal and Napoli. So there's 4 players after this player. For me, I'm quite confident because we have Brazilian links all over the club now. We've got Willian, we've got David Luiz, Edu, Martinelli, and surely they're telling Gabriel to come to Arsenal.
Well, some people are making comparisons to the Tierney transfer because that was also quite a long and protracted saga. But the difference for me is that Kieran Tierney had his bags packed and was waiting to come to Arsenal. It was Celtic. It was the selling club that wanted the money up front, and then they wanted to make sure that they could secure the services of another left back. And they said, well, you can't have him until we know we're going to get this other left back, and this other left back agrees. But in this situation, from the way I see it, who knows how true the stories are, but it always seems to be pointing back to the line, the player will make his decision. The player will make his decision. So it sounds like the club knows that this player is going to go. He's the selling club. We're a buying club. We want him. So what's taking so long with him making his decision? Because I remember Mikel Arteta in a recent interview saying quite specifically that he doesn't feel that he should be having to convince players to sign for Arsenal when he's talking to prospective new buyers for the club. That he shouldn't have to beg players to sign for Arsenal. So I don't know why we've not moved on from this Gabriel thing, because it sounds to me that he's just him or his agent are trying to play the selling and buying clubs up against one another.
Yeah,
I know. Just as I was going to say, I know that Tony's going to say, I looked down into the chat box and there it is, Ndika. I know Tony loves Ndika and so does Rohan, but you've also got Mangala Star out there who's available on a free, who's also a left-footed centre-back. He's around a similar age. And if we are supposed to be outsmarting the market, you could think that could be maybe the 25 to 30 million euros that we were going to invest into Gabriel could be put somewhere else. I don't know. I mean, there's obviously we're dealing with Lille, right? And they're quite open to us doing our layaway package deals, right? We put a £10 down now, and we'll give you £5 a week, for the next 250 years until it's all cleared. They're open to that, so maybe that's got something to do with it. But at one point yesterday, it was looking like everybody but Arsenal was saying that he'd signed a 5-year deal. Now today, that sort of has cooled again. So I'm at the stage that every time I see a Gabriel headline, you see that picture of Homer Simpson where he's glazed over and the spit's running down. I go into that mode anytime I see anything about this player now. It just glazes me over. I'm sick of hearing about it.
Shout out to Gunnar Glenn. Martinelli injury is the reason we won't sell Lacazette. There could be a lot to that. Rowan, the fact is, you've got a couple of Champions League clubs now interested, and the player is thinking about it, right?
We've got a couple of Champions League clubs, but we just won a trophy, right? We are on the up. He can come to our club and establish himself as the new centre back, and hopefully Saliba and Gabriel become the pairing for the next 5, 7, 8 years. They're both young, and they should see that the work that Arteta has done with young players before, they gotta have some faith in that. And I think it will get done. I don't think it is going to be that big of an issue just because there's some other club coming in and they want to take him. If he wants to come to Arsenal, he will come to Arsenal, and we'll make it happen. I mean, we just tend to be really slow at all of this. Who really would think that Aubameyang's deal is going to take so long? All of us think that he signed long way back. So, and I agree with Tony. I don't know why he's getting hyped. I have no idea. I don't claim to have seen him. But if Arteta trusts him, then I will trust him. So if he's an Arsenal player, he's going to be backed 100%.
I understand he played very, very well against PSG in one of the league games, and he's an up-and-coming young player who can be molded. 22 years old, and terms have been agreed with the club and player.
I mean, if you saw how David Luiz played against Man City, you would think he's the best defender in the world. But and then if you saw him play against Man City, then you would think he's the worst defender in the world. So you never know.
Exactly. Big up everyone in the chats. 12 people here on a Thursday night. It's like 2:30 in England right now, and I know a number of you are over there as well. So really appreciate that you've taken the time. Maybe you're not sleeping. Maybe you're worried about the transfer situation for Arsenal, and But big up everyone. Go get both of them, Tony said. All right, so let's. That's pretty much Gabriel. Let's get off of that a little bit. We'll quickly talk about Partey and then go to Aouar. And I know Stan, you got to leave in a couple of minutes or a few minutes. So just let me know when you want to bow out. And I'll let you start with Partey, Stan.
Well, he's the one waiting for. He seems to be. He's like the prize jewel in this transfer window.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. I can't give you any updates on it. I know as much as anybody else. It just seems that the selling club have told Arsenal this is what it's going to cost you, and you need to pay it all at once. You know what I mean? We ain't doing none of these like HP deals. It's not happening. You've got to pay it all in one hit. That seems to be it. And my only worry is that the longer it takes for us to do that somebody else somewhere else may wake up and find, oh, actually, we've got 50 million in change here. So we go and get Thomas Partey, So just get it done, But I mean, just going back to we talk about these deals and stuff, and you talk about a player like Aubameyang, and you just think to yourself, obviously none of us know because we're not in that line of business, but you just think to yourself, how long does it take to sort out a contract, really? Surely you might, you must have an idea on the number, the bonuses, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't understand why it's so protracted. Because if it was me, if I was a football manager, it's never going to happen, but if I was, I would just be grabbing the player whose contract is coming up, dragging him into the office and locking the door and say, right, let's get this thrashed out. I need you in my team. Do you want to be
not leaving?
Even if you don't want to be in my team, I'll help you find a new home. But let's get this sorted out one way or the other. I don't understand why you would want something to drag out over months and months and months. Just get it squared away. Move on to the next thing.
Well, they wanted to get done with the Champions League. He didn't play in the Champions League game, which I think was telling, Thomas Partey. But now to confuse everyone, let me go back a little bit to Gabriel and just say one other point. He used to play with Nicola Pepe as well. So that's another player who's probably on the phone to him right now saying, come to Arsenal, check out the Premier League. We're going places. Partey, Rohan?
We've got to get him. This has just been going on for far too long, and sometimes we've been favorites. Sometimes it's been, sometimes it's been out. Sometimes you don't know what's happening. So a lot of times, I don't think it's that simple and it's that easy because, like we said with Cheney, right? Like the other team needs to get a replacement, and especially because we always want to go in for some other team's best players, and we want to sell all of our worst players, and we're like, why aren't deals happening quickly? Because if you wanted to sign their worst player, it would get done quickly, So if somebody comes in with interest for Mesut Ozil, see how fast that deal is going to get done. So that's what it is, right? Like, but Partey, I think it's becoming a little ridiculous now. It was just so much that now I don't even see that much about Partey happening, or is it just
could it be Rohan? We're trying to get Gabriel in. We're going to talk about Aouar in a few minutes, and could it be they want to see how much money they need to raise or they have left over from the budget to be able to go and get Partey and figure out who they're going to actually sell, because we're going to have outgoings as well.
Is the midfield really a choice that we can make? I mean, I don't think so. The midfield is more dreadful than the defense right now, in my opinion. So the first, if it was in that way that we had to pick one of them, I would first go for Partey, because our midfield is absolutely dead, and that's the reason why we're one step back, because we're trying to fill the clogs in midfield. We have to play three at the back, we can't play through the middle. Our striker needs to come in so deep, so we need that player. But that being said, I think still that Partey is a box to box. He's not a total defensive midfielder. So what's happening to that position? Because
he does seem like a player who can do a lot. He is essentially a box to box player, but he could do jobs in different areas of the pitch. He seems to be a multifaceted player in that way.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like when Terrera came, I was excited because for the first time in a long time, we got someone who was a specialist in a position, and that's such a vital position. It's a vital position in which you have to be a specialist. Otherwise, you switch off for 1 second, your defense is under pressure. And that's what we have to sort out.
I think for Arsenal, I think it's that Arsenal a little bit behind the times. For years, after sort of like Patrick Vieira and also Gilberto Silva, we've never really kind of like replaced players for that position. We tried, we had sort of like Alex Song in there, we've had Coquelin in there. He's done really well when he found the right partner. Do you know what I mean? We've kind of experimented in there, but now just as we seem to have got a player that had all of the kind of that ticked all of the boxes for that role in Lucas Torreira, we sort of bought him just as the game seemed to have changed and is now stepping out of having a specialist player in that role. Because if you look at Kante over at Chelsea, and if you look at when he was first at Chelsea, when he went from great seasons at Leicester, carried it on into Chelsea, and now he's getting overlooked for other players like Kovacic, even Charlie Gilmore, the young kid, is getting in there because they're going for more of a that box to box, a bit more like a Partey. So
midfielders who can do more on the ball.
Yeah, it's almost like rather than having rather having sort of like three midfield roles. You're either a DM, you're either a CM in the mold of maybe like an Aaron Ramsey, or you're an AM, like a cam, if you want to call it, like a Mesut Ozil. It's now that you've got to have a midfielder that can do two of the jobs.
Yeah.
You've got to be an attacking midfielder and a CM. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be able to attack, but come back into the middle of the park and help out, right? And if you're a defensive midfielder, you've not just got to stay as a screen in front of the defence. You've got to be able to water carry the ball and get into the other box as well and help provide.
Yeah.
And it seems that Lucas Torreira has come in now in that kind of a Gilberto Vieira mould, just as the game seems to be changing away from it. That's just my thoughts. I don't know what you guys think.
I mean, I think that we could still make do with someone like that. Of course, like if you have a really well-oiled machine of a midfield in which everybody knows their role and at least two of them are willing to sacrifice themselves for the team, then of course you can do well. But I think we've tried too many times to have players who could do that job, but they just sort of switch off. And for me, an ideal position would be to play a defensive midfielder and maybe play 2 8s. One of whom is a little more attacking minded, and one of them who is more defensively inclined. 2 8s like a Ramsey and a Partey would be two who could work together potentially. I mean, I'm not saying that Ramsey needs to come back, but Ramsey was always forward thinking, and if we're thinking that Partey can do that defensive role, he could be that 8, but a little bit defensively minded. And then you have the defensive midfielder who has the screen, just cleaning up the thing, keeping it simple.
Everyone in the comment section.
I was just laughing. Tony's right. He says, Stan, nobody likes 4-1-3-2 anymore besides us on FIFA. I said, that's right. Yeah, that 1 in front of the 4 seems to be a bit of a dying out. Everyone
in the comment section seems to believe that Partey will be an Arsenal player in due course. That's my feeling as well. I'm quite confident. I want to get your gut take on that as well. A gut check on that, Rohan and Stan. Partey, quite confident, Rohan?
I think it should happen. I mean, it has to happen. We've just been linked for so long, right? Like we need to get him. But the only thing again is that, do we have to wait until 5th of October to get them when we've maybe got like one win, one draw, one loss? We're already, and then it takes them, 3 weeks to get up till fitness, and then, they're getting used to it. It's too cold. It's raining, it's too windy. Don't need that.
Looking at the fixture list, like Arteta's got to have seen it as well, probably at 4 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning when it came out. He would realize the urgency of getting players in as well. Stan, what do you think?
Would it really be such a bad thing to like knock on Kroenke's door and say, "Look, can you lend me 80 million so I can get this party deal done and bring in Gabriel or whoever they're looking at? And then as we sell these players, we've got a load of players on the chopping block. As we sell them, I'll give you the money back. Yeah. Just give us it as a bit of, that's like me asking one of you guys, can you lend me 20 quid?
If you're good for it, Stan, if you're good for it.
You know what I mean? It's not going to break the bank. If I don't pay you back, it's not going to change your lives. He can afford to dish out, say, 70, 80 million. Let them go and get business done. We bring them in.
Yeah.
And then we can start selling players without being dictated to by the club that we're trying to sell to, because we've got what we want, and we can maybe play a little bit more hardball and get better deals for the ones that we're trying to get rid of. But I mean, maybe you can't. Maybe I'm just being too forward thinking. I don't know. Why can't you do that?
Rohan, he has a lot of assets in his portfolio right now, right? So maybe he's skint a little bit. He can't.
One last point as well. Bringing in that Tim, what's his name? Tim Lewis. From Cliff Chance to do the bottom audit.
Mulder.
Fox Mulder, as he looks like, the guy. And I've heard a few people say this. Is there an outside chance that the reason that someone like Dick Lewis has come in to do a top to bottom look at the club is because the club could be getting prepared to be sold? Because that stadium that the Kroenkes have built in the States, right, it costs billions or whatever, they ain't getting anyone in there. And it's not just about crowds paying ticket prices to go and sit in and watch sporting events. It's like a whole complex. There's retail businesses that they all get a cut of. There's all these ancillary products that are around this stadium, and people aren't really being able to use that facility. And I'm just wondering if you bring in a guy like a Tim Lewis, it's because maybe they're looking at thinking, well, do we need to maybe sell one of our assets and maybe we'll get rid of Arsenal? I'm just going to put that out there. I don't know if that's happening, but who knows?
One of their only assets outside of the States as well, Rohan.
That's an interesting thought. I haven't thought of it that way. But if they were really thinking of selling the club, then they would just. I mean, they had him on retainer anyway, right? He was on retainer for them. He's done all of their deals, like in the sense that when they had to buy, complete shares, etc., then he was the guy who advised them. So if it was really a due diligence and an audit of how we can sell the club and what we have to do, then I think they would have just paid him on retainer and and not given him a position within the club, which in all likelihood would go in like a few months or a season or two, right? I mean, I don't know. It could be, and I would love it if it gets sold and we get someone who's really passionate about the team and who says the right things and does the right thing most importantly. But let's see how this goes. With Arteta signing, at least I feel hopeful that they're moving in the right direction. Arteta says good things about them, so we have to believe it for now.
Yeah. Let's put a pause in things right now. Stan, we're still on 13 likes for the podcast. We need 30 to hear Sir Chips Keswick. I think you're going to be safe until next time, Stan. But drive those likes up, everyone that's watching. Let's get to a section now where I put a tweet out about questions. If people had questions, and don't waste that tweet. Who is the moderator here in the chat? You're going to get your question. I'm going to ask it to Stan first of all. The question is, how would you feel if Arsenal finished in 8th place, but with higher points total than this past season?
I don't think I wouldn't be happy with that because our target.
Getting you any higher?
No, our target for this season should be getting into the Champions League. For me, it's as simple as that. We're looking at a top 4 finish and at an outside chance, maybe a playoff. The playoffs to get into the Champions League as an outside.
Yeah, exactly. Rohan, same question. Still 8th place, but the points are a little bit better.
And what do you do with those points? Just because those points, what am I supposed to do with those points?
It's a bad situation,
I mean, essentially what he's saying is that we get 75 points. We finish 8th place with whatever points.
64 points, maybe.
64 points, and then we win the Europa and we get into the Champions League, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. See, for me, the bread and butter is the Premier League. That's where I want to finish. I don't want to take the back route. I don't want to go through the back door and do all of that. You never know. It's a knockout competition. You can't put all of your eggs in that basket, and the Premier League really shows what sort of a team you are. And, you have to finish at the top of the pile. And, for me, I'd rather finish with 50 points but finish 3rd than finish with 70 points and finish 8th, really.
Yeah, exactly. I have another question. I just have to find it here. Okay, here from Expat Guna, Mr. DJ. I want to thank you, Mr. DJ, for giving us this question. It's something we're going to do on the regular. If everyone wants to submit a question to #ArsenalCircleBox, we'll get the esteemed panel here to answer this question. I'll go with you first, Rohan. Do you see Ozil playing in an Arsenal shirt again, or is he reserves training for the entire last year of his contract? As he has said, he will not leave. Or can you see the club buying his contract out immediately?
The club will not buy his contract out. He will stay here unless there is a crisis. I don't think he will be used. I don't want him to be
sparingly
used unless there is a crisis. You shouldn't feel bad about using him because you're paying him, so you might as well use him. And in my opinion, there are games where he could come in handy. I don't think that he could play against the top 10 teams. I don't think he can play in the top 10 teams, but let him play when we go to Azerbaijan. He'll love it there, right? Like, let him play, let him captain the team when we're in Belarus or something. When we're playing, I don't know, Ludogorets or someone. Let him play there, or let him play in the first rounds of the League Cup or something. That's when we need the rotation. That's why we've signed Willian for squad depth. So why not play Ozil?
Dan, do you need me to repeat the question?
Not at all, but I got an interesting thought again on Ozil's situation. What if one of the reasons that Mikel Arteta wasn't picking Ozil was because that was a directive that was coming down to him from the board, i.e., Raul Sanllehi, and now that Raul Sanllehi is no longer at the club. What if that then changes the situation? What it was a case of, Don Raul was doing all he can to try and force Ozil out. He wanted to get him off the wage. He was telling Mikel Arteta, look, we would prefer it if you don't really use this asset at the moment. This is what and now that he's gone, it may now be down to, it could be a clean slate, and they're like, yeah, Mikel, you do what you want, mate. If you want to use him, use him. You want to bring Guendouzi back into the fold, do that. If you don't, then don't. So who knows? And I tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me.
The reality is, we're thin on midfield.
I tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me, but I know exactly how it will play out. If he brings,
you're starting to sound like Kevin Keegan there. I'll tell you what. I love it.
I'll tell you what. I hope they bloody lose up there. I'll tell you what. If they get beat, but no. And I'll tell you what though. What will happen? What will happen is this. This is how it will play out. He'll get brought back into the fold like usual. He'll come in. He'll have a good game. Maybe set one up. Everyone's hugging. There'll be another game. He'll do okay in that game. Maybe 6.5.
One more year, Stan.
And then he'll have another game, and it'll just be in no man's land. Yeah, it'll be in no man's land. He'll get substituted off early. He'll have a face like a smacked ass. He'll throw his gloves down, and then it will all start over again. He'll have a backache. He won't feature. I've seen it so many times with so many different managers. What is it they say? It's only a fool that keeps repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting to see a different outcome.
Definition of insanity. Yeah.
There you go. That's it.
All right. I'll tell you what, Rohan, Chahat, thanks for joining us, Chahat, and Ruel, who's come in as well. Really loving the interaction. 12 people in the chat, so it's amazing. Slap a like as well if you want, if you're new around here. Rohan, any views on Kai Havertz's transfer, as we're on the topic of midfielders?
I'm gonna quote Bayer Leverkusen, who are supremely active on Twitter, right? Like they're one of the clubs who like bantering, right? And this was asked to them, and they said that he's on holiday like the rest of our players. I mean, it seems like he's gonna go, but they're gonna try to get as much money out of him. He's a good player, and it seems like Chelsea are gonna get him, but he's not gonna come for cheap. So he's gonna go for Kepa money. They know what Chelsea do. They pay the money, and they know how much they paid for Kepa. So they're gonna charge them a premium.
By the way, Rohan, is Liverpool gonna get Thiago?
I hope not. I hope we get him.
You hope we get him. This moves us on to Aouar pretty quickly. Is Aouar got a little bit more of life in him in terms of years? Is he a viable solution to stack up against a Thiago for the short term?
I mean, is he a Thiago? No, he's not. Thiago's coming from Bayern Munich.
Could he be Thiago?
I don't know. You never know. What the potential of a player is going to be. But sometimes I think that you just have to go for quality, right? Like it's a difficult position, and the Arsenal midfield isn't one where we've got too many leaders, too many guys that new guys can learn from. We need guys who can hit the ground running, and for that. I think Thiago would be great, but the age factor is maybe a problem, and also the fact that Thiago just wouldn't want to join Arsenal because, like, why would he? He plays for Bayern Munich. They're gonna win the Champions League. He can go to any club he wants. He'll probably be welcome at Barcelona again, or City wanted him. Like Pep Guardiola was a fan, so he can go anywhere he wants. So maybe keeping that in mind. Aouar could be a good option, but I'm just Could he be the next Thiago? Like, I don't care, because like the fact of the matter is that how many times have we read this? Like, this guy's the next Ozil. This guy's the next,
Vieira.
Whoever, next Vieira. Why don't we sign the Vieira?
Thank you. I don't want the next Ozil. I don't want the current Ozil.
Exactly.
Hey, Stan, how about the next Walcott?
But
I want the next Gnabry.
Yeah. Stephen, Edu should get Kroenke in a headlock and Arteta lift up his wig, take out the checkbook from under it and go buy who he wants. Aouar is interesting to me. I think it's a bit of a long shot. I think it's going to be difficult. The amount of clubs that are going to come in now based off of his recent performances in the Champions League. My only thing is that Edu knows Juninho quite well, and that could help with the negotiations. Stan, I'll go to you first. And I think I misquoted earlier in the week. I was speaking 44 million plus Guendouzi. I think it's something like 35 million plus Guendouzi is what they want now. It's still a big asking price for our.
Well, we don't want to. I mean, so if you can do something like that to make it easier, it all depends on how much if both sides are agreeing on the valuation of Guendouzi. I would take Aouar. I mean, he's better than what we have. We don't need a player. We need a central, creative, jiggery pokery kind of a player. And I like him. He's not who I would go and get. You all know who I would go and get, the Dutchman, Donny van der Beek. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
But I think he's on the list of players that Koeman wants to keep.
He wants to get him from Ajax, right? But he is available, and I've not seen a lot of clubs talking about him. The only club I've ever seen mentioned with Donny van der Beek is yesterday. Now Barcelona, a bit before that, Man United. But Aouar, why not? If we could, if we could get rid of Guendouzi and bring him in, and what are you saying? Guendouzi plus 30 million.
Guendouzi plus about 35 million, and I think Guendouzi would not hate going to Lyon. I think. I think he may be quite open. I think he would be quite open to that.
Guendouzi and say maybe 25 million. Try and negotiate.
Well, we know from the Lacazette deal, right, Rohan? We know from the Lacazette deal that Lyon are notoriously difficult to get a transfer with.
Yeah, they are. But then we're just talking about, what numbers are we talking about? We talked about 50 million for Partey. We talked about 30 million odd for Gabriel, and we talked about 25 million for this guy. Like 20. No, we said 35 plus Guendouzi, so 35, right? I mean, in total, what is that? That's 60 plus 50, 110. 110 million for three players that we need, which are quality, is not a big amount in this transfer window. We're going to spend that much. I mean, we've got one squad player for free, and we have to spend that much. I had said going in this time, no FPL restriction. This is the worst season that we've had. Other teams are going to go in and buy players. Chelsea have already done it. We know Manchester City are going to do it. We know Manchester United are going to do it. We know that Liverpool are better than us. We've got to step up in this transfer market. I said at least 150 million is what we have to spend. Major surgery.
And I think, with a player in that Aouar's position, regardless of whether Dani Ceballos stays for another year or not, we still need a player like Aouar. Do you know what I mean? And if we don't keep Dani Ceballos, then it's a possibility that we might need another one.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because the midfield is that's the one area where you get more rotation, and we are looking kind of short. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, though, seriously, if Mohamed El-Neni stepped out into our midfield next season, but that's another story.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm counting on Ceballos staying. I'm not even if Ceballos goes, we are short on numbers. Just look at the last game that we played last season, which was against Chelsea. We had, if Xhaka or Ceballos had got injured, let's say 2 days before the game, we wouldn't have had a quality midfielder to place there. We would have makeshift players. We could have put Maitland-Niles in there. I know Ryan is going to be like, no, he's the best player in the world. No, he's not. and we could have played Joe Willock on there, and he would have got found out like he did against City. And so there's just no quality. And just before anybody says that I'm calling Xhaka quality, I'm not, but I'm saying that he's lesser of the evils that we have right now.
Real quick question for both of you from Darren. We value everyone in the comments. So, which player would you have back, Stan? I'd take Tony Adams. First name up right there.
Yeah, just for the organisation. Obviously you can look at Ian Wright and you automatically think, oh, goals. We've got goals. We've got Aubameyang. Just the one thing that we don't have is that kind of Tony Adams kind of an attitude in there.
A leader, a great
sort
defender.
them out.
Rohan,
he's gonna sort them out. Yeah, Adams, no doubt. He's gonna sort them out. He's gonna come there and grab them by the scruff of their neck and be like, stop whatever you're doing and start defending.
I don't think you're allowed to pin people up against the wall anymore. There might be assault. You know what I mean? Let's pack Ozil back up and send him to Turkey. So Aouar is 9 goals and 10 assists, Rohan. He's had a pretty good season for Lyon.
We need that sort of player. He's quality. He's proved that in the Champions League. We are not there, so that's going to be a potential hurdle. They made it to the Champions League semi-final. That's no mean feat. So it's going to be difficult, but if we want to have the right team, we have to go for the right players.
Stan, indeed. Stan, I hope you're right. Talk about handcuffing your manager and losing money out of Europa and lowering the table. Makes no sense. Looking for Ozil, face mask, and Stan's wig. I tell you what.
Stan's wig is getting a lot of play tonight in the chat box. I've noticed, man. Stan's syrup is getting so much play.
Thiago is available for 29 million, and Liverpool are refusing to pay it at this point in time. That's what Tony's saying. I believe he's told his teammates, Rohan, he's going to Liverpool.
Well, that's sad, isn't it? Liverpool are going to be unstoppable with him. They've anyways got the best team out there.
Let's look at the landscape. Liverpool are in their heyday right now. They're going to win. They've been winning things for the last 2 seasons. We've papered over the cracks. Some people would say that. I'm happy with an FA Cup at this point in time, but we have to kick on now. And we've all seen Arteta's video where he wants to look the players in the eyes when they come back from their holidays and know that they have that hunger. We've all seen that, right? Saw that part. And that's key, right, Rohan?
It is key. Now, everybody needs to know that this is not a place where you can just have fun and games and get away with it. Arteta is not that sort of a guy. He doesn't want to waste his time here. He says that this is his dream job, so he wants himself to be successful. And that's the mentality that he will give to his players. Everybody should know that. In Arteta, we trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really believe that he's. Have you heard what Willian had said as well? Now this could be just stuff to make Willian sign, but he told Willian he wants to sign him. So by the end of his 3-year contract, we'll be competing for the Champions League. It's good to have those goals, though, right? Yes, we can smile and laugh a little bit. If you tell me we're on the path between 3 to 5 years under Mikel Arteta to tool up and go for the Champions League, I'm down with that. I'm going for that.
Winning the Champions League or just getting back into
he probably said you can never guarantee. Even Wenger said you can never guarantee you're going to win things, but you have to guarantee that you can compete.
Well, I think that we'll be back in the Champions League quicker than 3 years, personally. I want to get back in next season.
No, I'm talking about winning.
Oh, winning. Sorry, winning.
That's why Rohan and I smirked a little bit because, right now we can't see it, right, Rohan? But if you get, it's a stretch to get Aouar, but if we go get Partey and Gabriel, we're instantly a stronger team.
See, I have said this before. Sometimes maybe, and it might sound ironical because Arsenal haven't won the Champions League, but maybe sometimes it's easier to compete in the Champions League than to compete in the league. Because Liverpool won the Champions League with more losses than in the Premier League, which they did.
But you have to have quality in your team, right, Rohan?
Exactly. It's just 13 games, 6 out of which are group games. You will navigate your way out of it, and then you don't even have to win all of the games. Just Champions League is cruel, right? Juventus, and that's what Ronaldo posted after he was out, right? Like in the 8 games that they played, they had 6 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat, and they were out of the Champions League. That's what the Champions League is, right? So, you have to compete, and you never know. You get the favorable tie, you get that away goal. You could challenge, but that comment on Willian, I think everybody knows that's. I mean, to win the Champions League, we need better players than Willian.
It's a stretch, yeah.
I just think as well that a team like Arsenal that has, we've had a lot of experience in that competition. We should be able to do as well in that competition as a team like RB Leipzig or a team like
as a club, Stan, we have done that. As an institution, we have done that, but our team right now is barely recognizable from the 2017 FA Cup winning team. There's not a lot of members still from even 2017. So we've had a lot of turnover. So it's going to be a new adventure getting into Europe and getting into the Champions League, albeit with experienced players. It's going to be a learning curve again, right?
And this should be the same way you sell the club to players like Gabriel and Thomas Partey. This is like you should be positioning it that the main reason that we want you is that we know that you can get us back into the Champions League.
Yes.
We know this. We're confident that having you, and if you see some of the other players that we're going to be bringing in, that we will be able to get into the Champions League. And once we do that, then we've got it all to play for. That's how you should be selling it. None of this, we've got players who are going, I don't know if I want to re-sign a contract because we should be I want to be in the Champions League. Well, stop pissing and moaning about it. Get us into the Champions League.
Why are we willing to pay 65 to 70 for Aouar? Because he is probably going to be that good, and that's the going rate. And I don't know if Tony is saying why are we or why aren't we, but Tony, that's madness. The comments are great. It's hard to keep up with everyone, so hope that I can. But
I mean, Tony asked, and I would acknowledge his comment. He asked whether I would take Thiago for 29 million.
Yes.
I would snap your hand off.
Yeah. For a 29-year-old, you've got 3 years.
That's a steal.
It's not like Willian, who's 32, and for 3 years he's going to be 35. Stephen Denham, where's he come from? No one was interested in him last season or before. Then is he any good or just half decent year, a one-off? I can't speak to that, but he has had a great campaign in the Champions League as well, and
I know you can't kind of like compare real life to art and all of that, but something like, for example, that Aouar. I know it's only FIFA, but he's been in and out of my FIFA team, I would say, for maybe the last 2, not including this one, the last 2. So, sometimes you hear about players, right? You look for the stats, and then sometimes you get a player that you kind of like, and then over the next couple of seasons, you start seeing that player's name starts to emerge more and more and more. And I had that with Upamecano in FIFA. He was a player that, I was looking all of the sites, looking for decent defenders, looking at the stats. And then gradually you start seeing over the next couple of seasons that his name starts appearing. And now, you know, the guy's got a big price tag around his neck. I know that you can't compare it to real life, but do you know what I mean? Sometimes they kind of get it right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If FIFA was to believe from 2012, the seasons that I used to play, then by today, Mario Götze and Connor Wickham would have been the biggest players in the world. Connor Wickham.
The assembled and Stephen Denham are asking, you know, where have you seen the transfer spends over the years? We have spent money, Rohan, and we just have not spent it wisely over the years. Rule Carvey, we will be a stronger team in the new season.
A question I just want
a stronger team.
if anyone knows the answer to. I mean, how much do we actually have in the transfer kitty? Forget what we're going to bring in before we sell anybody. Is there an actual number that is in the pot? I mean, we've gone back in. You know, we're going to get into the Europa League. So there must be something in the pot before we sell.
We're not simmering and we're not boiling, but we're somewhere in the middle. Remember, if we were going to be in the Champions League, we'd be boiling. If we didn't make any kind of European competition, it would have been pretty bad. We're in that middle tier, but nobody knows. And we have to balance the books as well. There's some players that are going to go out.
Tony Turner's saying 25 million is what he saw. I'd rather just give 18 of that to Mesut Ozil now and then start thinking about what we're going to do after that.
Well, listen, we're going to wrap this up pretty soon here. We are in out of time now, so I'm going to go with these first half, second half at a time, and you know, slap a like on the video if you liked this video. Come back on Sunday. We're going to do another podcast on Sunday, but let's just round this up with a few more questions and confidence level. Are you confident in Partey and Gabriel, Stan?
Out of the two, I'm probably a little bit more confident on Gabriel. But I mean, this is Arsenal Football Club we're talking about, and anything is possible. I've come to learn.
Rohan, your confidence level in the two?
Yeah, I mean, I was super confident on Partey a few weeks ago. Now I don't hear as much about him. Now it's all about Gabriel. I'm just going by what I read and see on the news and on Twitter, etc. So, you know, that's what it is. And
we would take Thiago Silva for free, but I think someone else is going to snap him up. Great job, lads. Thanks, Chahat. Everyone, thanks. The assembled, great show. Thanks, Stephen. So we'll just round that out here. Rohan, thanks for joining me. Appreciate you always.
Thanks for having me, Ray. It's always a pleasure with you and Stan and everyone in the comments. It was a great one. Love the interaction.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Button.
We got through the fixture list, Stan.
Yeah.
Good that you saw the fixture list with us here first.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens in the season. And Arteta, you know, hopefully we're going to tool up in 3 to 5 years. We're talking about a Champions League run here. You know?
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat box for coming in and joining us. But, you know, just do a little bit of housekeeping. Don't be a freeloader. On your way out, just click the like. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that.
That's all we have.
Listen, I went on. I checked the stream about 30 minutes before we started. There was people already in chats, and you love to see that. So
yeah, thank you.
Big up everyone in the chats. It's a community. There's 3 of us here, but there's a ton of you guys in there talking as well. And thanks to everyone who's been moderators. If Stephen, if you want to be a moderator, let me know, and we'll do that. Once again, we're out of here. Thanks again. The fixtures are out. We know who we're playing, and we will see you on Sunday. Up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gooners.